Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for the week of April 7th. You have this Capricorn card. It says challenges on it. It says it will not be an easy path, but if you build discipline, you will achieve your goal. You have this Temple of the Soul card. It says you are on a karmic path, so you can unravel the mysteries of your karmic debts. It is a very karmic time. I think that with the North Node in Pisces, I've said before, it is kind of karmic having the North Node, transiting Pisces. So there could be, I think that what this looks like for people is that people could be healing like past karmic situations. It doesn't have to be relationships. It could be pretty much anything. But people could be healing that. People could be discovering their, quote unquote, true purpose in life in general at this time. And I don't really believe that we have like a purpose like people think. I believe we're here to create our own reality, whatever that means for you, and, to live our best life. And, I think sometimes like careers get in the way of that. So, I'll say that but at the same time, I think people could be discovering things that they're actually meant to do. And I think that's what you're working on. You start with the Emperor, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles in your current general energies. The Emperor is about taking control. Now, there has been a lot of this like controlling energy kind of going around the readings, but I think the Emperor is saying it's time to take control. I also think that it's no mistake that we have all this energy that will be going through Aries. Neptune just moved into Aries. Venus and Mercury were retrograded in Aries, but they're going to be moving back into Aries soon enough. So, all of this, Aries is the initiator, the one who gets started. And I feel a lot of you could be like taking control on new ideas. Something I think people forget about the Emperor is he has this Ankh right here, and the Ankh is like a symbol of rebirth. I think it's also no mistake that we've had nonstop retrogrades since November. It's like reminding us, all those retrogrades, everything that went retrograde during that time, I think was to remind us of like what we actually want to do in life. And a lot of us could be kind of rebirthing old ideas, things that we thought we would do when we were younger. Maybe you thought when you grew up you would be a certain thing. And I'm not saying that you're gonna if you thought you were gonna be a lion tamer when you were a kid, it's like you might not exactly be doing that, but there might be part of it that is related, or you might be doing something similar but different. And I would just I feel like this reading is encouraging you to play around with that, whatever your ideas were or whatever came up for you since November, especially if you've revisited something, I would just play around with it and see what happens and, take control of it in that way. And that's what the Emperor is saying. You have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? Yeah, I've been saying since 2016 that Neptune in Pisces would change money, and just in general, I pretty much haven't been wrong. We've had a lot of weird stuff happen since then. Crypto has taken off. We've had all these things happen. And, banks went under a couple of years ago or whatever. We're going to see more of that, trust me. But, Neptune is in Aries, but it's going to retrograde back into Pisces. We won't get the full truth from Neptune and Pisces probably until 2026. So, on a personal level, for all of us personally, I think that this is about value. And the Seven of Pentacles says, are you getting a good result for the work that you do in life? And I'm not just talking about work. I'm talking about, the work you do on yourself, the work you do on your health, the work you do on your relationships. And it seems to me like you're weighing all those options up. We have the Six of Pentacles right next to it, and Six of Pentacles kind of is the same thing. It's equal give and take, but he also has this balance that he's holding on to, and he is balancing out who he gives what to. And I feel that's a big question for you, Gemini, balance who you give what to, your time, your effort, your energy, how much you make from the work that you do. Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? With the Seven of Pentacles, we have to analyze, it's card of analysis, we have to analyze the things that we put our energy into and say, is it worth it or not? It's just that simple. And the Six of Pentacles is very similar. Next, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is straightforward work. It is straightforward, diligent work in mastering your craft. He is working on one thing, and one thing only, and he's almost done. He has one more pentacle to complete, and then he will be putting his work on display. You know, it's all up in front of him here, and he might be, maybe he gets credit for his work, maybe he finally gets paid for his work. You know, I always say this is the card of material success on the horizon, meaning like whatever you're working on, you will be getting paid for in the future. So I would, if you are mastering a craft, I feel very literal about this Eight of Pentacles. I feel like it's saying, you know, keep working on whatever you're working on, even if you're not seeing a lot of results. You know, most of the time when we work on something, it's like a straight line, you know, the result we get, and then all of a sudden we shoot up, right? That's how work works. Sometimes it takes us a while, and we can do something, you know. What I'm trying to say, let me rewind here, is that it's like this channel, right? I was stuck at 40,000 for like 4 years, right? And my channel wasn't growing. I don't do anything differently from what I did for the first, 5 years of this channel. I pretty much do the same thing, but I get a much different result. It just takes some time to master a craft sometimes, and I feel like the Eight of Pentacles is saying, you know, if you're working on something specific, keep going, because eventually it will take off. But if you quit, it won't. So don't quit. I definitely get that energy on that Eight of Pentacles. It's like saying keep going. Let's clarify this. With the Emperor, you have the Six of Wands. Six of Wands is attention, success, a victory. You know, so again, if you are like bossing up in your life, or if you're trying to be a boss, or if you're trying to get recognition for a skill with that Eight of Pentacles, the Six of Wands says it's coming. So, you know, there definitely could be recognition or success coming in for you here. I think your last reading was about bossing up as well. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Cups. 2 sevens to me is internal fears that don't exist. So I would definitely let go of any fears you have. And the thing about the Seven of Cups is we can start to imagine things, but, you know, there are some good things and bad things in these cups on the Seven of Cups. But, you know, it's like sometimes it's not real. And, you know, especially if you've been waiting a while to get results, you might be thinking like, oh, maybe it's time to change, maybe it's time to do something different. You know, maybe it's like sometimes over time we start to give in to the fear, right? And I feel these 2 sevens here are definitely saying like, don't give in to the fear, keep doing what you're doing. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Five of Swords. You know, he is the winner. So, you know, the Five of Swords can represent walking away from something, but, you know, ultimately he is the winner of the situation. So really, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. One thing I will say is that we go up to the Six of Pentacles to the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands says, you know, it encourages you to step out from a comfort zone. So it's like, you know, you're not really changing your work. And the Five of Swords, excuse me, the Five of Swords can represent like walking away from something. I think this is saying like, keep working on whatever you're working on, but don't be afraid to, you know, mix things up a little bit. Or even the Two of Wands is a card of taking the lead. So if you're not getting the recognition that you want for the work that you're doing, you know, the Two of Wands could say it's time to like make sure you're doing things to stand out. It's time to experiment with what you're working on. It's time to brag, speak up, you know, all that other good stuff. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this boundaries card and this meant to be card. So, you know, we are in a time of boundaries for sure. You don't really have any other cards of boundaries yet, but, you know, it could be a good time to set boundaries. I think something is meant to be in your life, no matter what, like, especially if you're working on something or trying to master a craft. So I really get this, like, don't give up type of feeling from your reading. It's kind of funny because you don't have any cards here that say don't give up, but yet that could change in a minute. But, you know, I really kind of get that, like, Nine of Wands, perseverance. Well, you do have this Capricorn card, and, you know, Capricorn is the sign of perseverance. So, you know, it could be a good time to keep going and not give up on whatever you're doing. You have the Hangman, the Six of Pentacles, and sorry, I'm choking now. Sorry, Gemini, I was choking. But anyway, you have the Hangman, Six of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups. The Hangman is about gaining a new perspective and kind of like waking up. The Hangman has put himself on pause on the Hangman card, and he is gaining enlightenment. Now, we've had a bunch of retrogrades again since November, so we've all been on pause since November. Sorry about that, Gemini. The recording stopped all of a sudden. But anyway, he's gotten what he needs, and so he needs to get off the tree, right? You have the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is equal give and take. So I feel for a lot of you that paying attention to like what you're giving to and what you're getting is going to be very important with the Six of Pentacles energy. With that Seven of Pentacles, I think it's going to be very important that you pay attention to, like, you analyze the things that you're working on, and you need to make sure that you're actually getting what you want from the situations that you're like investing your time, effort, and energy into with the Six of Pentacles. And I would just make sure that there's equal give and take in anything that you are working on with this card. The other thing that I would say is being careful of people. This guy here, it's kind of standing out to me. He has this little thing in his pocket here. And so sometimes we say that someone has something in their back pocket, right? They have like ulterior motives. They want something else. And so I would say, especially in work or business, I would still, even though we're getting past the retrograde on the 7th, the Mercury retrograde ends, I would make sure that you are very clear, if you're entering into any contracts or, if you're doing work for a person, I would really spell it out, like what you are going to do. And I would just be very clear on that because I would just make sure that, you are being, that kind of like the obligations or the, what the person is going to get is clear, just so there aren't any mistakes. And if a person comes back to you and says like, hey, I hired you for this, and then you can just say, no, we set out with this agreement, and this is exactly what I said I would do, and I did exactly that. Right? It's kind of like saying, it's almost like this Six of Pentacles is saying, don't leave anything up to the imagination. You have that Seven of Cups right next to it. And this could be other areas of your life as well. Like, I just get this need to be very direct this week. Same thing with love. It's like, sometimes like, we tell people like, oh, let's just be friends, which I always think is a bad idea because, I think that sometimes it's like one person wants more than the other, right? So, I think it's important to be very, very clear in your communications with the Six of Pentacles, and it's popping into my head. You have the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups can be like fortune after difficulty. It can be good things happening after a difficult period of time. A little bit of a breath of fresh air. I do kind of get that feeling for you with this card, Gemini, is that there could just be like a little bit of a breath of fresh air coming in for you this week. I would encourage you to carve out some time to have a breath of fresh air as well. So, the Ten of Cups, these people are celebrating, and it might be a good week to make sure that you are socializing, that you are spending time with people who matter to you, that you are having fun, and kind of make time for that. I think filling up your fun bucket is important. The Ten of Cups also, like, I kind of feel you are seeing, like, what you are very close to. The reason I say that is because you have the Ten of Wands here. Now, most people consider the Ten of Wands to be a little bit of a difficult card, but personally, I like the Ten of Wands because he's almost reaching his home in the background here. And I get this feeling between these two cards that, maybe you're not at the finish line yet on whatever it is that you're working on, but I feel like you are very close. I feel like you are like the Ten of Cups, it's almost like saying that something very motivational could be happening for you, where it's like you're seeing the finish line is in sight, right? With the Hangman, you have the King of Cups. King of Cups can be a person with deep emotions. It could be you exploring your own emotions, which I think would be a good thing for you as well. He's sitting in the deep ocean, but he's perfectly fine. His face, like, he's not worried on his face here because he knows how he feels about everything. And he's sitting in these choppy waters, but again, he's perfectly fine. So I feel for a lot of you that, getting your emotional state right, especially if you're trying to move forward in life with that Hangman, is going to be important for you. This could also be a person. You could be attracting a person who has very stable emotions if you are looking for love. It's not really a love reading yet, but that could change. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Swords. Again, I told you, Seven of Swords is my card of ulterior motives. I was literally feeling that on the Six of Pentacles. Personally, I think the Seven of Swords is a good card. Golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive no matter what. So, number one, on the positive side of things, I would make sure that you are being tactical. He's stealing these swords from an army in the background of the card here so that they can't be used against him in battle. So, he's kind of going to war, but in a different way. So the Seven of Swords is a great card for that. Seven of Swords also says you could be taking things too seriously. He has these polka dots on his cloak, and polka dots in the tarot represent taking things too seriously, needing to have more fun, all that other good stuff. So I would make sure you're having more fun. But also, again, Seven of Swords can be tricky. I just get this feeling, it popped into my head as work. Like, if you're getting a new job, or if you work with clients or something like that, I think it's really important that you like spell out exactly what the person is going to get or whatever. Same thing in love, or same thing in everything else you do. I would be very direct this week so that people can't be sneaky. That is the feeling I got. With the Ten of Cups, you have the King of Swords. King of Swords can be very direct, straightforward, to the point. So again, I think this is saying that this week you need to be direct, straightforward, and to the point, especially with your needs, even with your needs, I should say, with other people or people that you're working with. You could also be, again, attracting a person who is like a King of Swords, King of Cups combination. It could be someone who has like water and air in their chart, or air and water in their chart or something. But this person could be, King of Swords is a little bit hard to read. King of Swords, they can be very direct. Usually they are, but, again, and maybe that's why this is saying you need to be very direct this week, is because, if you're dealing with a person who's hard to read, communicating and being straight and to the point might be very important with that energy. I also feel this could be you. Again, the whole reading says you're kind of like bossing up. So, this could just be your energy as well. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Freedom card and this Revisit card. We talked about this with the Emperor, that you are like rebirthing something or revisiting something, and that could hold the key to your freedom here, Gemini. So if you have like an old idea or something that you're rebirthing, it definitely could be something that sets you free. You have the Two of Wands, the Five of Cups, and the Ten of Wands. The Two of Wands is about taking the lead. Now, he could be setting himself free by leaving a comfort zone. This is his village down here, and he's standing at the top of his castle. The story of the Two of Wands is that he rushed to a finish line and he didn't enjoy the journey. So he rushed into something, and now he doesn't enjoy it any longer. And so that he is looking out here. He's looking at the world in front of him. He's not looking at the world that he has in his hands. And the Two of Wands says, you are not limited. You are not stuck. Sometimes the Two of Wands, it's not a bad card, but I think we can feel stuck with the Two of Wands because we're just looking at what's in front of us. We're not looking at all the opportunity that exists. So the Two of Wands is a great card for getting out into the world, like going and doing things, going out and having fun, going and enjoying yourself, going out and, exploring. And I would definitely encourage you to do all those things. I would also encourage you to take the lead on anything that you're working on. Clearly, I feel that could be very good for you. I do kind of feel good about this. Like, I feel like you're making progress. Eight of Pentacles, right? Material success on the horizon. This card is coming up in the future position. So, a lot of you could be kind of finally making progress by taking the lead. You have the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups can represent regrets or sadness. I kind of feel like you are worried about regrets. Like, if I, leave this thing, am I going to regret it or whatever? But, he no longer enjoys what he is doing. The story of the card is that he's lost his taste for wine and he's crying because he can no longer enjoy wine. But if he turns around and he's grateful for what he has, he gets these two cups in this castle in the bridge right here. So the card itself is about being grateful, but it also says, you might be spending too much time being sad or upset about the loss of something that you don't even want anymore anyway. And so, again, if you're worried about regrets, it's like, really, would it be a big deal anyway? Probably not. I've heard so many stories in my life of people who, like, they hate their job. They always talk about how they hate their job. Then they get fired and they're upset that they get fired, even though they just spoke negatively about their job in the first place. And then they end up getting something that they really love. They go and get something a lot better. So it's like that's kind of I'm not saying you're going to get fired, but I kind of get that feeling here where it's like some of you it's like the universe is asking you to make a change that will actually make you happy. You have the Ten of Cups, right? And clearly there's an opportunity for you to do that right here with the Ace of Pentacles. You have the Ten of Wands. Like I said, I feel like you see the finish line. The story of this card is that he planted those wands, and yes, he is burdened, but again, those wands are his harvest, and he's about to reach his home in the background here. So really, is it really that bad of a card? I would say no. I think that he is having a harvest, or he's about to have a harvest, so it's a good card. And I feel a lot of you could finally be having a harvest, or again, that Ten of Cups feels like motivational to me, as in, you could be getting some motivation, or it's like you're seeing the finish line, which is kind of like motivating you to keep going, to keep pushing, and I think you need that at this time. With the Two of Wands, what do you know? You have the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is holding on too tightly to the past. So like I said, I think that leaving a comfort zone would be a really good idea for you, Gemini, with that Two of Wands for sure. And, letting go of it and moving on to something bigger and better would probably be very helpful. So I think that whatever you're holding on to could be limiting you. That's literally what the Four of Pentacles says. He's got these Four Pentacles, and he's afraid to let go of these Four Pentacles because if he does, he might not find his Ten of Pentacles. But really, that's exactly what he needs to do to find the Ten of Pentacles, is he has to let go of a limiting situation. So this could be anything. But, with the Five of Cups, same thing. It's like clearly there could be something in your life, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a job. It could be a person, a place, a thing that is kind of holding you back in some way. And I feel like the reading is asking you to release it. It makes a lot of sense, Gemini, because we have, we just had that eclipse in Aries, and we also have Neptune moving into Aries. Neptune is a little bit murky no matter what sign it's in. And so some of you, it's like you have kind of a vision, but it might be a little bit murky. And, Aries energy is asking us to initiate things. So, putting it all together, it makes sense. With the Five of Cups, you have the Magician. Yeah, it's like you are attracting things very quickly into your life. He's pointing over to the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is like work hard, play hard, but Two of Pentacles is spinning plates and doing too much. You are a Gemini, so you probably are doing too much. As a Gemini moon, I get it. I want to do 100 things, a million different things, right? But I have to pick one thing and focus on it. The Eight of Pentacles says you can't be doing a million things at once. You have to pick one thing, master it, and that's when you get the results. If you're doing too much, you're getting nothing done. And the Two of Pentacles are showing up in the good stuff, which is good. It could say that you are focusing, but even the Magician says we have to focus on exactly what we want to get it. So I would make sure that you are staying focused. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Two of Wands again here. So the Two of Wands, is about taking the lead, like I said. The Two of Wands could also say that with that Ten of Wands, that there is some work that you're doing that is slowing you down. So, like I said, those 10 wands are his harvest, but all those wands are in front of his face. So he can't see the finish line on the 10 of wands. Those wands, it's like he can't see the forest through the trees. And so I think that there's a difference between important work and busy work. And, the Ten of Wands is saying, are you doing, make sure you're doing the things that are important, and also make sure that you're not just doing busy work that's distracting you, right? Next, in the area of messages, this is the good stuff. You have this happiness card and this purity card. We do see some good happiness cards here, Ten of Cups and the Queen of Wands mostly. And I would, carve out some time to do things that do make you happy. I feel like the purity card is saying make sure you're doing things with pure intentions. Like I gave the example of the job that you hate. I'm not saying that's what it is, but if you're doing things you hate, then you're going to have a hard time. And so the purity card says make sure you're doing things with pure intentions, right? You have the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. The Ace of Pentacles is like a big opportunity that could be coming in for you. I would take advantage of any opportunities that come your way. We're in a time of opportunity because we're getting past all these retrogrades, like I said, with the Hangman. And, I can't remember a time where we've had 6 months straight of retrogrades. It's basically been 6 months. By the time we get to the end of the shadow period, you might as well say it's 6 months worth of retrograde, 7 months almost, actually. Really, I don't remember the last time this happened. It's been a long time. And, what I would say here is that sometimes I think when we go through these extended periods of retrogrades, it's like we get used to the energy so we don't do anything. And I think the Ace of Pentacles is saying hey, the opportunities that are coming in now, they will last. They're not going to be like typical retrograde opportunities that don't last. So take advantage of those opportunities, the good ones that come your way. I would also say make sure with the Eight of Pentacles and the Magician that the opportunities are adding up to something. It's kind of giving me star energy. It's like everything you do can add up to the star. And no, you don't have the star here, but I'm just giving you an example. We'll pretend that Ace of Pentacles is a star. It's like if you're having a hard time deciding what activities you should be doing, it's like, does it get you closer or farther away from the Ace of Pentacles, whatever your big goal is? And if the answer is farther away, don't do it. If the answer is it gets me closer, do it. You have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is spinning plates, being very busy, as we said. So a lot of you could be very busy at this time, or you've been doing a lot of work. I think doing important work is going to be important. The Two of Pentacles is also about kind of like needing to have more fun in the good stuff, because, it's work hard, play hard, but it kind of says you need to play more or you need to enjoy yourself more and kind of like focus on your own energy. You have the Queen of Wands. Same thing. Queen of Wands moves towards her bliss. She follows her bliss, or she follows her joy, or she moves towards the things that bring her joy and happiness into her life. So she has a sunflower right here, and the sunflower points towards the sun. So she has to move towards her happiness, and I think that's what you have to do as well. She's also my card of like learning as you go. You're a Gemini. You are perfectly capable of learning as you go. So if you're starting something new and you don't know all the details, you will learn, plain and simple. Here you go. With the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Fool. Definitely a big opportunity that you're going to take a leap of faith on. And by the way, he has this white rose right here that he's holding in his hand, and the white rose represents purity. This is like one of those things where I'm not saying that this is what this reading represents, but it's like sometimes in life I think we have a choice. We have a job we hate, we have a new opportunity that we would love, but maybe that new opportunity doesn't look like something that would be very successful, right? And, I feel like this is saying you need to follow your heart, because really it will be successful. With the Two of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Cups. Definitely could be love. I would just be very clear with love. Like if a person is approaching you and you're not interested, just say it. If you are interested but you're not sure, just say it. Like I think this is the type of person that would really respect it if you said, like, hey, I'm interested, but I'm confused about love right now. I think that person would be like, okay, great. Call me when you're ready, right? And like I feel like this person would not put any pressure or anything like that. I think they would totally understand it if you said something even like, I just got out of something, I'm interested, I just got out of something, I don't know what I want to do. I think this person would be like, hey, no problem, So again, and that would probably make you attracted to the person. The fact that they're that more attracted, right? The fact that they're like, hey, don't worry about it, I think that might kind of put your feelings at ease in this situation. But I definitely feel a person could be approaching you. Here you go. You cannot make this up. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Ten of Pentacles. We were talking about your Ten of Pentacles. We have 3 tens at the bottom here. Ten of Pentacles is everything that you want and desire in your life. Ten of Pentacles is the tree of life. And so I feel a lot of you kind of like have this vision that you want to work towards or create in your life, and it's like you're trying to make it happen. I was just going to say, you have this June card, and in June, Jupiter leaves your sign, which is actually pretty good. When Jupiter's in your sign, you usually don't get the results until after it leaves. So, again, a lot of you, the Ten of Pentacles could be that Jupiter expansive energy, broadening your vision for your life, and you could be working towards that. You have this Mule card. It says someone is extremely stubborn and unwilling to change. Yes, I would be careful of stubborn people. I've been saying this since the beginning of the Mars retrograde, especially Mars in Leo. Mars retrograded in Leo, and Mars retrograde in Leo can kind of create problems with people who are too stubborn to change or who just aren't flexible. And I would just be careful of anyone who's like that. Even though Mars is direct, doesn't matter. You have this Wealth card. There you go. We see a lot of good money cards in this reading, so I'm not saying you're going to be like a millionaire this week, but whatever you're working on, I would keep doing it. Eight of Pentacles is work. It says you still have to do work. Two of Pentacles, same thing. You still have to do work, but you do have the Ten of Pentacles, so whatever you're working on could bring a lot of success in the future. You have this June card and you have this Gong card. It says an exciting event. Yes, you could be getting your reward at the end of Jupiter and Gemini once we get to the month of June, so that's great. You have this Hand card. It says in need of help, assistance, or guidance. Yeah, ask the right people for help, so I would make sure that if there are people who lift you up, I think I've said this to you in past readings, that as long as you're working together with people who support your vision, then things will be fine. You'll only have a problem with people who don't. So, make sure to get the help from the right people. You have this Box card. It says you will be receiving a gift. Could be a gift from the universe coming in for you. This could be love. This could be a person you're interested in. The funny thing is, Gemini, is that maybe with that King of Swords as well, it's like you could be attracted to a person, and that person could be very direct with you. That person could say, hey, I just got out of something, I'm not ready, and I think you will respect it as well. But I also think your reaction, like if you're just like, hey, let me know when you're ready, I think that would put this person's mind at ease. It's almost like, it's like sometimes I think a person will, it's like they are ready, but they're not ready, but they are ready. And it just, the simple act of you being like, hey, that's fine, I think will put that person's mind at ease. But this could also be you, so take it how it resonates. But, it's almost like how someone reacts to the other person, if this is love, is what is going to kind of bring the two of you together, if that makes sense. I know that sounds stupid, but literally that's what's popping into my head. It's like the reaction to what the other person says is exactly what is going to make this work. So there you go. I don't know what else to say. Looks interesting here, Gemini. What a mess. Typical Gemini reading, right? The camera turns off. I start choking. That might be how your week goes this week, and I would just go with it, right? So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.